Ready.
The Zoning Committee held on Tuesday, the 8th of August at 7:30 p.m. Do we have any apologies for that?
We do, yes. We have one from Councillor Vicky Ponchek, who's away on leave, and we have Councillor Jill Haynes, who is substituting for her for this evening.
Declaration of interest. Any declaration of interest?
Non-pecuniary, but it's not much of an interest really. It's just I live a couple of houses down from one of the houses.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, I don't think that you need to worry too much about,
Yeah.
presenting your declaration for that.
Okay. Obviously, if you see something as the evening progresses, just like it at the time, and Heather can.
Yeah, I shall make the relevant notes.
Yeah. Okay. Minutes of the planning committee held on the 18th of July. Is everybody happy with those?
Actually, can I just make that? No, I see I've gone back to being Nick Chichester Miles on this.
The reason being is that until it has been formally approved at council in September, I have to still continue recording it as being Nick is apologising and you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so because unfortunately it wasn't picked up in June at the last committee cycle. Sorry,
Yeah.
could you go to time then? Yeah.
Well,
Okay, there we go. I have. Thank you. No, none been received, or nothing to report.
Public questions in accordance with standing orders 22 and 23.
No, none have been received, Chair.
Letters of objection.
No, none have been received of those either.
So we're looking at applications registered the week ending 14th of July, 21st of July, 20th of July 2023. And we will kick off with the right page.
Page 10.
Page 10. Application 5 2023 1408.
Place. This is number 42 Manland Avenue. Planning permission was sought in 2022 for exactly the same scheme. This committee had no issue with the proposal, but it was refused by the LPA. The documents submitted with this application are exactly the same as those that were submitted with the refused application. The only addition is wording in the design and access statement relating to sustainability. There are no changes to reflect an attempt to address the reasons for refusal. Property is part of a pair of characterful semi-detached properties with other properties of a similar style and design in the vicinity. Proposed extensions are of a contemporary style with the use of materials that differ from other properties. There appears to be parking for just one car on the frontage and the road is part of the Harpenden and controlled parking zone. My recommendation is express concern that the reasons for refusal of application 5 2022 2698 have not been sufficiently addressed.
Obviously, when it was considered in 2022, it was a different committee, people on that committee.
Yeah.
If it had been the same people on the committee that first looked at this proposal, would we be able to come up with a different?
I think.
Wasn't it accepted by?
Yeah, exactly.
So this committee had no problem with it, but the district council refused it for two reasons. So I think that on the basis of us looking at it before the district and then refusing it on two quite strong reasons, then I think if this was the same committee a year or so ago, we probably would have taken on board what the district was saying, because ultimately we don't have the luxury of visiting the site or being able to sort of seek the views and advice from the neighbours. So yeah,
And is the St Albans Committee different?
yes.
A lot, majority? Or-
Yes, it would be. Yeah, I mean, they change their committee every year, sort of similar
Yeah,
to
yeah.
us, really. So yeah, it would obviously, everything that's changed with elections and things, so it would be a very different committee. But what we have to bear in mind, though, is it's highly unlikely that that application went to committee at St Albans. It would have been decided by an officer. So the
Gotcha.
officer might be, maybe different, but ultimately they're all working from the same document of policies, procedures.
So they've put it in and not made any changes?
No, none at all.
Well-
Even to the point that the application, the dates are exactly the same on the bottoms of the papers been submitted. So all that they've provided is just how stupid it's.
I wonder if there's a wrong one in. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm fine with your recommendation.
Anybody want to,
You work to look at the papers and the drawings, I mean, it depends how you feel, if you want to look. I mean, I must admit, it does appear quite incongruous if you want to, sort of bear that in mind in comparison to the neighbouring property. I mean, and admittedly, that's the frontage as well, so we've got quite a characterful building. Okay, the changes are to the rear, but we are moving to a much more contemporary, sort of quite boxy dormer window arrangement. So
If nothing's changed, then there's no reason why
No.
they wouldn't be refused again, so
Yeah.
I have to support the recommendation.
the district planning committee letting that one through if it's, substantially no different.
it isn't. I mean, literally the date on the bottom of the papers is exactly the same, which was actually, funnily enough, was 2015. So
Do you know how many bedrooms there are?
have a little look.
I was just wondering with regards to there's only one parking.
Yeah, so I mean, even if they were standard number of bedrooms in the property, so there's 660. So they're adding on additional bedrooms. So they have currently got 4 bedrooms and they are moving to 5.
Right.
Um,
How does it work then? What's the ratio?
So the ratio changes once you go from 4 bedrooms plus, it becomes 3.5 parking spaces that
Oh,
you
right.
should be providing. So ultimately 3 allocated and a half are non-allocated. This is also part of the controlled parking zone, so it's already an area which is recognised as being tricky for
Oh,
parking.
right.
And you obviously, the residents can apply for permits for it, but there is a very controlled system of parking. So there are bays in the streets that you have to sort of share
Right.
throughout the street.
So would it not be refused then because it's?
Yes, I mean, you're more than welcome to heighten it to be refused.
No,
Yeah.
I wasn't pushing for that. I was just
it's-
seeking clarification. on
I would,
what-
on the basis of what councillor Haynes is saying, I cannot see how the district council will differ from what they've said before on the
Yeah.
basis that they are working from exactly the same document. Nothing has changed in their policies. The NPPF is exactly the same as well, but I can't really see that there would be any change in their view.
Did we flag parking when we looked at it?
No, so last time it was just no objection. But yeah, I mean, you can quite clearly see it's the property on the left-hand side and there is one individual car parked there and there is no scope for a second. Yeah, quite badly parked.
Get
but
2 minis.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so it might actually jump out over the path if it's
Yeah.
parked
It's the long
straight
path,
in,
isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else got a comment? Do we want to express concern or refuse?
Refuse.
You refuse.
For the same reason, but it's just not
Yeah.
changed yet.
Okay.
I'm happy with expressing concern.
Okay, we'll go to a vote. Who would like to refuse? Okay, express concern.
Okay, so go, went for a refusal.
So we go on to 2023 1411. 11A Batford Road.
Okay, planning permission was granted in 2020 for exactly the same scheme, but the proposals have not been carried out. Observations taken from the previous application are that the rearward projection falls in line with number 15 Batford Road. Number 11 Batford Road is a replacement house, so i.e. there's a new build to the left. So what we can see there on the left at the moment is a bungalow, but we've got a much more substantial property there. To show it. Not. Okay, building over the flat roof garage with a forward projection. To show you can see that there's a substantial flat roof.
Yeah.
There's the loss of the double garage, but a replacement of a single garage and 2 off-street parking spaces are proposed. No loss of trees proposed. Recommendation of no objection.
That was approved
It was
3 years
approved.
ago.
It was, yeah. Ultimately, they've run out of
Yeah,
planning
fine.
permission
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Really, with that.
fine. With the recommendation. Yeah.
So 523 1376 1395 1416 1437 1439 doesn't meet criteria. So on to 2023 1225 Whitfield Road.
Okay, the current property is the original property, which appears dated and in need of modernisation. It sits on a good sized plot with the gardens of properties in the uplands to one side and an infill dwelling to the other side. Proposed new 4-bedroom dwelling will sit further back on the plot for number 1B Wheatfield Road, with just a single-storey double garage to that side. The ridgeline of the proposed new dwelling appears to sit lower than that of number 1B. The gable front design follows a similar design to the neighbouring property and others in the street scene. Trees and hedges are to be retained with an additional tree added to the frontage to enhance the area close to the substation, not conservation area. So my recommendation, although I say no objection, having done a little bit further sort of research and looking at comments that were posted online since the agenda went out, I noticed that the Hearts of Middlesex Wildlife Trust have commented on it, saying they don't have an issue in principle, but they feel that an ecological and a bat survey needs to be carried out and presented because the age of the property and due to the location of it, they feel that that needs to happen. And as long as the guidance from it is carried out, then they actually have no issue with it. And then also there's mentioning of the protection of the mature trees, the mature tree, which is just at the front there on the right. So where I said no objection, my recommendation now is no objection in principle, subject to the appropriate ecological and bat surveys being conducted and sufficient tree protection measures implemented to protect the mature tree on the frontage. Policies ESD 2, 13 and 14 in the neighbourhood plan, and policies 70, 74 for district plan affairs. There you go.
Can I see what the building?
Yeah, of course. So lower down is the existing street scene, and then the one at the top is what they're looking to put in its place.
So maybe they're only putting a 4-bedroom house there.
Yeah, it's nice to see. It's yeah.
We used to live around the corner.
Oh, so you're familiar with the site.
So I'm familiar with the site, and it had an elderly couple living in it, and he had gold Capri.
Oh,
Actually, I think the gold Capri is in one of the pictures. I think I remember seeing.
No, I know I'm showing my age by liking Capri.
I remember we had a few Capris when I was a kid. Yeah, my dad has them, yeah. They were the
Professionals.
yeah.
There was, I did see it somewhere. Oh no, I know where I saw it.
I see it on the photos as well. parts across, wasn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I think it was, because what I often do sometimes to try and help me with these things, I'm sad it didn't help me on this occasion. On Rightmove, where a property has been sold, I'm able to look at the images from the rear. But because I think sadly the house was in need of modernisation, I don't think they thought that the pictures would help to sell it.
Yeah.
So they didn't. So it was in that picture that I've mentioned.
Yeah.
The brick.
Yeah, they've got extra money, but it's still Capri. I don't want the Capri, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think you digress there.
That's okay.
So are we happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's me.
5/2023/1392, 5/2023/1242, 1389, 1482, and 1465 do not meet the criteria. So we're doing 5/2023/1477, 6 Park.
Okay, right, so this application is a resubmission following the withdrawal of the previous application. The road is made up of predominantly bungalows, dormer bungalows on this side and two-storey semi-detached dwellings on the opposite side. This new application retains the height and scale of a bungalow, which is more in keeping with the neighbouring properties. Number 4 has extended and enlarged with accommodation in the roof space as is proposed in this application. The scale and bulk are far reduced from the withdrawn scheme. There is parking provision for 3 cars detailed. There were many objections to the previous application, and there are none for this application at the point of view gender issue, not conservation area. Since then, though, I've noticed that there is an objection online from number 4 Parkwise Close, but not from the volume of people that were concerned last time.
So is that one, the one on the left of the red arrow one is the one that's already been extended?
So
has
no,
it?
the
Did you
one
say?
to the right,
Oh, to the right. that
yes,
one.
is the one that's been
I did
extended.
it both
Yeah.
of them are done.
Yeah.
So the objection, what does that say?
So the objection says, interestingly, this is from the property that has extended themselves. So they actually to the one that's there on the right side. Let me
So
just-
that's 4 is objective.
So number 4 is the one that's objecting, which is the one to the right. So his concerns, they go into a few pages, but I've highlighted the key elements. The footprint of the build, let me just see if I can find. I did manage to get quite a few images actually for this, just to kind of help set the scene. So the one to the left is the one that has been extended and is the objectors. And then I can show you just here, actually, this is the back of number 4 Parkwise Close, who are the objectors, but the one to the right is the house that is to be extended.
Yeah.
Sort of help set the scene. And then this is the block plan, so you can see the size of the proposed.
It's not that different, is it?
So, yeah, I don't think number 4 is 100% accurate as to how it is now, but it gives you an
Yeah.
idea. So anyway, number 4's concerns are the footprint of the build is considerably larger than other developments along the street. Indeed, the plan suggests a footprint of approximately 10 metres maximum width and 15 metres depth compared to the recently redeveloped number 4 Parkwise Close, which comprises 8 metres max width and 13.5 metres depth. Okay, then moving on, the flat first story roof considerably increases the size of the first story accommodation and thereby the full height of the build across its entirety, significantly increasing the scale and volume of the build with detrimental impacts for the streets and the neighbouring properties. They're saying that the proposal extends over 2.5 metres beyond the rear wall of number 4 Parkwise Close to accommodate the large first floor story flat roof, which has significant consequences for the neighbouring properties. They're saying that then the scale of the property dwarfs the neighbouring properties and that there's potential for overshadowing and loss of light to the neighbouring properties. And that's
So the other properties, the other neighbours haven't significant.
no. I mean, the difficulty is that because I think number 8 is a bungalow, it's difficult to know whether or not they're an older sort of kind of person or couple or whatever who maybe haven't objected, certainly not online maybe, but you can't always guarantee that they haven't objected, but it's just that maybe it hasn't gone online just yet. But yeah.
Is there any other pictures of what they're trying to do?
So I can show you the drawings. I think is probably the best thing to show you because. So there isn't, unfortunately, no, not for this application. It was very limited, so that's the existing and the proposed. But yeah, there was very limited paperwork.
What's up there, isn't it?
It is, yeah. There wasn't a huge amount really for me to show.
Can we see the photo of the back? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the one that's been extended, and then
Yeah.
the one that's to be extended is on the right with the red cross.
I'm
So it's
just trying
gonna
to
come-
figure out where the ends,
Hmm.
because on the diagram, it comes way back out, doesn't it?
It looks like it comes out to where that is, it's sort of like a crimson sort of road though, isn't it?
There's no issue with the 45-degree angle.
No.
So, yeah, is there a window on that side?
Because it's a bungalow,
They're not going upstairs?
so they are going upstairs, yes, you're looking at the existing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it is currently a bungalow, and I think what, the ladies,
I think that's very different to what it is in the pictures.
It's not. So this, I've got some images here to just kind of help to show what was proposed. So this is what was the withdrawn application.
Okay.
Right.
I don't know if you may not have remembered, we had quite a lot of residents that came out and were quite concerned. I don't know if I'm getting confused whether or not it was before the elections, but we had, yeah, we had quite a turnout for this one. For this particular address, so this application that I'm just showing here that was withdrawn,
Okay.
we had quite a lot of, I mean, you can see it quite.
Oh, it's quite different
yeah,
now, isn't
quite
it?
different, yeah. So what they've come back with is something much more akin to the one that's been developed to the right. But they're obviously still concerned about certain elements, but yeah, the rest of the street haven't objected to the level that they did before, where there was a large turnout, an awful lot of objection online.
Is the height smaller on this one than the withdrawn one?
Yes, so actually, interestingly, you can see here, that the red
Oh, okay.
dotting
Clever.
is the,
Yeah.
was the withdrawn. The proposed.
I mean, if somebody puts in a planning application which gets turned down and the rest of the concerns that they raised, then.
It does come back.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
there's it there. Is that first story, that extension, where it's coming back out?
So it's partially because of the roof slopes up and it's a dormer, like a
Oh,
dormer
right.
bungalow. So
See it on
it's
this
not
one.
the straight up.
Almost, you can see it's like double tram lines. So if you look at the,
So if you see here, actually,
that's
so
it,
this
yeah.
shows, so this is the first floor plan, so you can see that these are the dormers here. And then there is the lower section there that is, yeah. Because it's, yeah, it's not really increasing in height from what's already there.
No.
Really.
I'm fine with that.
So it's quite,
Nice city government.
Yeah.
Well,
we do have the option of amending what I've said, because I mean, originally I said it before I saw this objection online, of no objection subject to no loss of immunity to number 8 Parkwise Place, but I can change it to include number 4. And then that covers off both sides.
Yeah.
Even-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm going on the basis of what I can see online and on the paper plans rather than being
Yeah.
on foot.
Everybody happy with that then?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Number 4, number 8.
Could you pass the drawings? Thank you.
So 5 1.87 doesn't meet criteria. So we move on to 5/2023/1490, 7 Hammonswick.
So the existing property, which is quite large, sits on a large plot with trees and landscaping to the side. A section of this landscaped area, which I'll just section of this landscape area does not appear to form part of the proposal site, but its presence does contribute to the application and reduce the impact of the proposal on the wider street scene. Existing 5-bedroom chalet bungalow is to be replaced with a pair of similarly designed 4-bedroom detached dwellings with habitable space in the roof. The existing property's ridge height is approximately 7.5 metres. The new dwellings are approximately 9.5 metres. An integral garage and 3 off-street parking spaces are proposed. 2 trees are to be removed, although there are no specific details of which replacements will be put in their place. It states this requirement could be set as a condition of permission, not conservation area. I noticed today that the tree officer at St Albans has no issues with the application. They presented their report, and my recommendation is no objection, subject to a condition placed on the permission that additional tree planting be carried out. Policy ESD 14 of the Neighbourhood Plan Affairs.
So the blue line is the
So-
boundary.
Yeah, so I've kind of, if I show you here, you can see that there's the blue area to the left, which although it forms part of the site, I don't think it's actually part of the application site. I think it means that the owner owns it, but it's not forming part of the application site. So I did a little bit of a guesstimation that the blue line that I put in there is approximately where the divide is.
There's a lot of those bits of green land in West Common. I thought, somebody said to me they were owned by Jarvis.
I think West Common maybe, but I'm not quite sure about the ownership of that. But clearly the fact, if it wasn't in their ownership, there wouldn't be a blue line round it. It would be the red
Oh,
line would
okay.
finish there and
Yeah.
that's it. But I think if there's a blue line, it means that there's a link to the ownership of it, but it doesn't form part of the application site. Like for instance, if we put in an application in, say, one of our open spaces, our parks, we would have to outline it in blue to show that we own it, but actually the application site is highlighted in red. Yeah.
So if they're splitting one property into 2, who's going to get the blue triangle on the left?
Yeah.
So, well, I think the blue triangle on the left will remain
Whoever's
in
currently.
whoever's in the ownership of whoever owns it at the moment.
So they're splitting into 3 sites effectively.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
So would the fact that that corner bit be a potential plot impact decision?
No, because we have to look at it as to what they're proposing now. We don't know what the planned future is for that. If that comes as an application in the future, then it would be looked at on its own merits under that particular proposal.
I think it's good use of the space.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can show you.
It's affordable somewhat, you know?
Properties are in keeping, they're not monstrous mansions. So.
We all happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Five 2023/1454, the criteria, so on to 5/2023/1469, 25 Highfield Avenue.
The proposal looks to carry out similar works to what has been carried out on a number of other properties in the street in the form of a side extension along the depth of the property up to 2-storey level, but retaining a 1 metre gap down the boundary of number 27. 4 metre deep single-storey extension across the full width to the rear and extending at first floor level partially over the ground floor extension to expand a bedroom, and the creation of a 4th bedroom and study in the roof space achieved by changing the roof form from hip to gable end with a flat roof dormer to the rear and 3 Velux windows to the front elevation. The 2-storey extension does extend further than the rear building line on number 27, but there is what appears to be sufficient distance between the properties to prevent the extension creating a detrimental effect on number 27, not conservation area. So my recommendation is no objection, subject to no loss of means to neighbouring properties. Policy ESD 2 of the neighbourhood plan and 69 and 72 of the district plan refers. There is an objection online, actually, for number 23,
Oh.
Highfield. And their
Is that
concerns,
the attached one?
so that's the one, yeah, the one to the left. So I think if I show you their objection, quite short and sweet. The planned works with particular regard to the rear roof extension will have a dramatic effect on our outlook, privacy and the appearance to the rear of our house. And we feel detrimental to its value if and when we consider selling the property and object most strongly. So that's what their views are. Bearing in mind that the dormer window doesn't actually really, or the extension to the rear doesn't come out on their side. The extension is done on the opposite side.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Because,
So
yeah,
how many more- Sorry.
the sun comes up in the, because I live just 2 doors down from.
Oh, right,
and
okay,
the-
yeah.
The sun comes, it's the east is just to the right of there, you know, it's,
Okay.
and it comes over. No, it comes over, then in front of the houses in the afternoon. So, let's see how the, so maybe in the morning that there'd be some interference with light, but. Because, is that the proposed?
So the proposed is probably better here, actually, if you look just here, you can see what the proposed is. So that's the existing, and that's the proposed. So the rear is, well, ultimately changing with a dormer window, but the extension is on the opposite side of the property.
So it's more so than it does.
Yeah,
But they're more about overlooking the garden, aren't they? That's what privacy mentioned rather than.
Yeah, so in the fact that there is already bedrooms to the rear of the property at the first floor level, I wouldn't see that there would be any difference in
No more
from a
additional,
dormer,
yeah.
no.
But my point is the complaint was more about, the objection was more about privacy, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
the planned works, particularly regard to the rear loft extension, will have a dramatic effect on our outlook, privacy and the appearance of the rear of our house.
Doesn't affect the outlook of their house, because they can't,
See it? No.
unless they're hanging out and looking back upwards.
They
Privacy thing.
do seem to be building it up at the back.
So they are extending out to the back, so yes, so number
But the
23 is
opposite
to the
side.
left. Number
Yeah,
23 is
yeah.
this side here, so they're extending out here, but the 45-degree has been, well, you know, has been very clearly drawn in here to show
Yeah.
that it's not been impeded.
Right.
Their concerns, they seem to say, relate to the loft extension, which is
Oh,
this
right.
piece here,
Hmm.
which is built within the within the roof. It's not coming out
Yeah,
any further. There's dormer windows at the back to facilitate headroom.
Yeah.
But they're using the loft
It's
space.
overlooking, well, I get the impression they're more worried about overlooking.
Yeah, and I think that they're almost making comment of it being unbalanced because of it's going to look different to the back of their property, so, and the appearance of the rear of our property. And we feel detrimental to its value if and when we consider selling the property and object most strongly. So these, when I look at these in Highfield and Fairmead, there are so many of them that have been done like this, that it's, or well, Councillor Bosland's probably aware of the amount of work that's gone on in the street. I've seen
yeah.
so many of these.
Yeah.
This is a regular occurrence, really.
Yeah, look at,
Planning isn't the planning
No.
consideration.
I don't think it would change the value of it.
No, I think,
I don't know how it
I
would
mean,
impact it, but you either have to be overlooked or you're not, then you, if you're not, you probably wouldn't look at semis. You'd look at something more rural, wouldn't you?
yeah. But also, I mean, if somebody's looking to a house, they might go, oh, look what number 25 has done.
Yeah.
I can do the same thing. Therefore,
I think I might have district council.
It was very clear actually at the council training that we had that was one of the considerations that is not a consideration. Yeah.
anybody got any objections?
No.
No? Okay, I mean, I do make comments or make sort of reference here that subject to notice to neighbouring property, so
Yeah.
we have to sort of cover that off.
The next one. 5/20/1507.
28 Station Road.
Yep. Okay. The proposed ATM, I'll move on to the next screen, actually, to help you see. The proposed ATM is to be installed in the narrow piece of shop frontage to the left of the shop entrance door, and the recessed access to the residential units above the shops is to the left of its proposed location. Objections have been logged on the LPA website from residents above the shop, Hertfordshire Police and a local expert in banking. Concerns range from obstruction to residents, noise nuisance from users at all hours, potential for crime to occur from disturbance whilst using the machine. Footway is very narrow to accommodate users and pedestrians, not the type of machine desired for the town, and the visual impact on the locally listed shop. It is in the conservation area, so my recommendation is recommend refusal. The proposed installation of a cash machine in this location is deemed an unacceptable addition to this locally listed building in the conservation area. Policies ESD2 and 3 of the Labour Plan, policy 69, 85 and 87 of the District Plan Affairs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the police actually, I mean, although I sort of just make a few reference, they were quite strong, you know, saying that this is actually, if I show this picture here, they feel that the ability for somebody to shelter, hide in the access way to the flats above is, you know, is a real prime concern.
Yeah, and the station and the kebab shop and.
There's a lot going on there, isn't there?
It's too narrow.
The narrow, exactly, the narrow pavement as well, they reference that actually the ability to have a distraction burglary as well, where, you know, somebody is mugged because of somebody brushes by. It was, yeah.
I think they're trying to trade off the fact that September.
There's no balance.
They're
Just things, isn't it? It's the
I
only
mean,
one.
they've already, HSBC's removed its
ATM.
ATM, yeah.
and I presume Barclays will do the same in September.
It's great.
Yeah, it is.
And also, I mean, I make reference here to saying that it's not the type of machine that the town would like, is because it's viewed that this machine will be a pay-to-use machine. It won't be free banking either. You know, if you want to use it, you'll pay a fee to obtain the money.
So is it Hartman's and Wines that it's putting in the Cardtronics?
So it's something called Cardtronics.
Have they approached the shopkeeper, or was the shopkeeper approached?
I'm not sure. They don't actually state who's approached who.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
Don't even know the shopkeeper owns it, whether it's.
Yeah, or so the concern of the police was that people would be able to hide within the next door.
Yeah, so in the recess,
yeah.
in the sort of the access to the flats above, they felt that, yes, and also that there wasn't really, the footway wasn't wide enough to facilitate somebody standing at the machine and to allow people to pass by without A, walking into the road, or B, knocking into the person to cause a distraction, sort of mugging, really. Yeah, the residents above were extremely concerned as well about.
I agree with your recommendation.
Yeah.
I don't want to go against the police.
Pardon?
We don't want to go against the police.
Well, no, I mean, there'd been a lot of thought and consideration put into it where they'd shared their major concern.
Is that whole road locally listed? Was it just?
Most, yeah,
Okay.
most are.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh, 5/20/23/1215, 28 Grassmere.
Okay, the proposal looks to, at ground floor level, extend by 5.5 metres rearwards across the full width of the property to create open plan living accommodation. The first floor is proposed to extend partially over the ground floor extension to extend an existing bedroom and a bathroom, 4 bedrooms in total. The neighbouring property to the side of the first floor extension appears to have already extended, therefore reducing any impact on them with the proposed rear extension. Timber cladding is proposed to the upper element of the property to the front and rear. Full length glazing is proposed to the master bedroom in the extension. However, there appears to be no issue with overlooking both from nor to the host dwelling. Changes to the frontage include an open fronted porch and an additional dropped curb to facilitate a carriage driveway, which will provide additional parking in the frontage. No, not conservation area, and there's actually a letter of support from number 109 Crabtree Lane, which it backs into.
Oh, that's
I'll show you. Yeah.
It's not often.
So, yeah, so here you can see the back of the property that there is
Nice garden.
ample space for them to do that. And then, so the one that's got the little pin is the site, the application, and then the one to the right has already substantially expanded, extended, yeah.
So is that a window going the full length of?
Yeah. I think I might not have shown it actually. I can show you. So yeah, there's an almost full length window in the rear. But if you see here, I'll get them out and show you. But if you see, there's absolutely no overlooking concerns. I mean, we'd normally be concerned if there was a sort of a window to window backing on, but there isn't. It's quite nice what they're looking for actually.
The window.
There we go. So that's the existing and that's the proposed, so that you can see. So to the rear, we've got this lots of glazing.
Right. Anybody else want to look, or are you?
Glazing envy.
Thank you, Heather. Right, so. 5/23, 1531, 1548, those are the criteria. So we're on to 5/23, 1533, which is 16 Aldworth Road.
This proposal at ground floor looks to extend the front wall of the living room forward, extend the entrance porch element forward and convert the garage into habitable accommodation. At first floor is proposed to extend 2 existing bedrooms partially over the footprint of the ground floor rear elements. Yeah. The positioning of the properties in the road do not follow a uniform pattern, with this property sitting further forward on the plot than the neighbouring properties, therefore reducing the potential impact on them, especially in the case of number 18. The 45-degree visibility zone has been taken into account for number 14. The driveway and the frontage is to be extended to accommodate a further car to take into account the loss of garage, not conservation area and no tree wrecks. So we've got another one here with lots of space to the rear. And then this is what they are looking to do. Back, so number 18, as you can see, extends much further back. And then number 14, they have taken into account the 45-degree by not actually extending the bedrooms upstairs quite full width of the property. 45 degrees. Yeah.
Any questions, concerns?
All good?
All good. Okay. 5/2023, 1509, which is 49 Cooper Road, please.
Yeah. It's proposed to extend at ground floor level rear by approximately 2.8 metres across the width of the property to extend the existing kitchen space to fall in line with the rear building line of number 51. At first floor level, it's proposed to extend partially over the existing ground floor element by 2.6 metres to create an additional bedroom, which will be 5 in total. Changes are also proposed in the roof by removing the existing rear door window and replacing with 2 differently positioned dormers, and changes to the number and positioning of the front Velux windows to be 2. The proposed 2-storey roof extension does not appear to adversely affect the amenity of number 51. Property is locally listed in the conservation area and the property has no off-street parking as part of the Harpenden CPZ zone. I've said recommendation of no objections subject to no loss of amenity number 51 Cowper Road, an appropriate design and use of materials in this locally listed building in the conservation area. Policies ESD 2 of the neighbourhood plan and 72, 85 and 87 of the district plan declares. Do some pictures. Yep, so you can see here the back of the property. So the ones that you can see, not directly next door, but
Yeah.
one to the left is extended rearwards, as has the one to the right, has also extended rearwards. And then this is the plan as to what they're looking to do. So the first floor element is the sort of the shaded bit, and then the bit with the skylights is ground floor.
So they're about the same as the one next door.
No objection to putting in a till.
No, 47 wasn't when I looked at Hubbersbury this afternoon.
Mhm.
To be honest, it's another one where people seem to do that in
Yeah,
those sorts of
yeah.
areas, yeah, Cowper Road and.
Okay, we're all happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the final two, 1381 and 1519, don't meet the criteria. We'll just have a quick look at the appeal decision, which was the 3 Cross Lane.
This is interesting.
Yeah,
It's been upheld.
it has.
It was approved first of all by the town council, so.
Well, it was when we first of all saw it. And if you remember, we looked at it again because they had amendments, they made some changes and they resubmitted. And at that point, we then received an awful lot of objections from the residents locally, and we
Yeah.
changed our tune. So we then did actually object because we had a lot more information.
Yeah.
Went to Plans North, I think, actually, this one
Did
as
it?
well.
A lot of points, isn't there?
Yeah, which is quite interesting with the local plan and the cross lane.
Okay, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this one would be very much being background development,
Yeah.
so,
How many more bits to do?
they were wanting to put another one sort of in the street scene and then a further two at the back.
Yeah.
And there was a sort of a strange driveway that went down the side to
But
gain
they already
access
had
to
planning
the.
application for that one, didn't they?
So I think they did have planning permission for yes, they did for the house and the street scene, but not for the two in the back. Just trying to rack my brains now.
I don't think they'll
It was a while ago now. Yeah, so there we go. We looked at it in 2022.
No chance, no chance.
So, yeah.
Is there nothing there now? Was there some garages or something? Do you remember? some garages?
No, so,
It's a massive back garden.
there is, yeah, it's that area of Cross Lane, they've got substantial gardens, green space and things. So, yeah, and I think that the design of it was very different as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It
it's
was more
all
chalet.
Chalet, flats,
Yeah.
roofed,
Yeah.
chalets, really.
Yeah, very different design and style.
For the rest of the-
Yeah. What was the other one here? Is notification.
Which one was that?
So just a notification that they'd gone to appeal.
Did that come before this committee?
No, it doesn't meet the criteria. Single story side extension.
Oh.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been one that we looked at. But interestingly, reading here, the reason why the district have refused it is that they said that the application site red line boundary includes land outside the residential curtilage of the dwelling house. As such, the submission does not meet the definition of a household of application. So it's sort of almost a technicality.
Going on to somebody else's land.
Who's that?
I mean, it's quite cheeky to try and build on someone else's land.
I think that's an understatement, actually.
A bit cheeky.
Yeah.
We're being filmed.
Okay, so we have tree works. Notes.
No days, yeah.
Works. Tree works.
We communicate tree works when they're not on people's gardens. So if it was in like Leighton like the green on Leighton Green or something like that, do we kind of post it on?
What do you mean, what, anything that the town council are
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Yeah, so if we're going to be doing some tree work, some sort of what I would class as significant tree works, then absolutely yes. If we generally draw attention to the fact that it's happening so that people are aware and also highlight our tree policy and sort of the
Yeah,
reason
yeah,
why.
yeah.
If we're doing sort of the odd little bit of
Trimming.
tree works that are done as part of a health and safety tree works that are relatively modest, then probably not, no, because then I think we'd be flooding all of our social media and website with information that probably isn't overly relevant. But yeah, if certainly if a large tree is removed in a prominent location, then there is always an explanation as to why it's
Yeah.
happening.
Okay, so the next planning committee meeting is on Tuesday, the 29th of August. It will be sunny.
Yeah, we're all like, we'll have a general.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Normally do.
Meeting closed at 8:21.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, that was